Lights, camera, action, I'm splashing. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheel and dip, limousine ride, jet flying, sun with up, and I'm having a hard time holding these Detroit Lions down.
Pussy. What up, though, everybody? It's Mr. Lights, Camera, Action. I'm Splash and bringing you another episode of Up and Smoke. I am your host. This podcast is powered by the space station, so I don't have to tell you who's behind the camera, because you know it's the best. What up, everybody? Listen, it's been a minute. I might be a little rusty, so stay with me. I guess you could say I took a bye week. Me and the team took a bye week as we had one before early in the season. But you know what? I'm the boss of this shit, and I say we're going to make two. And we're back in another episode. So I thank you for tuning in. This is episode 17 now. This is another chance and opportunity I get to do this. This is fun. A lot to talk about. And I also got a special guest. You'll see him here in a little bit as he'll break down the week 15 slate of games. And I really appreciate this. So show him the same type of respect as you show me. Let's get to this week 14 recap. Green Bay coming into our hometown Detroit as we defend the Den. NFC North showdown. This was a division matchup. And this one was top tier, might I add. Dan Campbell. You know, your fourth down gambles is what led us to winning 34-13. But for that same reason, we could have lost. You know, that's the problem with you. You always want to fucking roll the dice. And why I do like that, you know, it shows that you're all in and you want to go for the win. It might bite you in the ass in the end. Okay? Lions, like I said, we converted 4 out of 5 times on fourth down. That's 80%. Mr. Show-Off, Jared Goff, you go off for 283 yards and a touchdown here. Sonic and Knuckles, 50 yards apiece. Demo, you had a touchdown on the ground. Listen, Tim Patrick, as he's emerging to be Mr. Reliable for Detroit, he had 2 touchdowns. And if you pay attention to Up and Smoke, you'll see that I talked about this guy in previous episodes. Shout out to Tim Patrick there. Listen, Lions, we sweep Green Bay, and this is the first time we've done that since 2018. Josh Jacobs, you had 3 touchdowns, but it was not enough. You know, Jaden Reed, did you even make an appearance in Detroit? All this talk on St. Brown's podcast, you ain't do a goddamn thing, all right, except take an L. Just like you, Tucker Kraft, mac and cheese. All this, when I see Kirby Joseph, you ain't do a goddamn thing either. Take your loss all the way back to Wisconsin, pussy. Lions fans stand up, one pride in the comments. Jacksonville at Tennessee, really wasn't much to see in this one, other than the fact that Jacksonville, there's no Jacksonville Jesus. Trevor Lawrence, as he's out for the season here, for the remainder of the season, these last couple games. Last week, he served that hit from LZ's Al-Shir. Some say it was a dirty play. I say it was fair play. You can't be scrambling out of the pocket and want to, don't hit, I'm going to get a couple extra yards. You fucking slide and get down. Period. Now you're sitting there looking like a clown. Mac Jones at quarterback. You know, the Jags scored the final 10 points there. Ended the Titans' slim playoff hopes, 10-6. Jets at Miami. A-Rod in the Jets. Bang. Back. Cut that motherfucking shit. You know, even though you guys are cooked, been that way for the last how many weeks, you guys still manage to show a little fight. Even if that means going into overtime. Took the Dolphins to OT. Jonnu Smith sealed the game there with a touchdown in OT. to a fish. 330 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, you had over 10 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. And you just had another baby this past week. This is rumored to be his 11th. You know, it's safe to say, Tyreek, you've had more children than touchdowns this year. But congratulations. Dolphins splashed the Jets 32-26. It was a good day for Sam Darnold. Not so good for Captain Kirk and the Falcons. Kirk O'Chain, you make your return to Minnesota in a game I think you'd like to forget. Sam Darnold, you spoiled that homecoming by exploding for a career high. 347 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jordan Addison, 8 catches, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. You had a hat trick. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches. You had 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, this might be, when healthy, the best receiving duo in the league. And they're both young, too. Kirk Cousins, you couldn't walk into a trap and take it over because the Vikings were defending theirs over the Birds, 42-21. New Orleans at the Giants, even though this one was a piss bowl. Saints, you proved you had just enough in the tank as you guys marched into New York and got a win. Brian Breezy, a blocked field goal is what gave you guys the edge over the G-Men in a 14-11 victory. New Orleans took their car in for maintenance. Derek Carr, you're out for the season. Maybe next year they'll do an engine swap at quarterback. Pussy. Panthers at Eagles. You know, why Carolina and Bryce Young are playing good lately, they've been balling. Philly, you got some drama brewing on your end. Ain't that right, AJ? Said passing is what needs to get better. Sheesh. Talk about throwing your best friend under the bus. And honestly, you have every reason to be upset. Jalen, you've been playing like shit these last couple weeks when it comes to passing. What's up with that? You know, truth hurts. It just goes unsaid because you guys have been winning. Saquon, you had over 120 yards there on the ground. You know, you're closing in on 2,000 on an MVP season, might I add. Eagles rout the Panthers 22-16. Browns at Steelers. AFC Division North battle. Cleveland, you got the better of Pittsburgh in that first one. Nick Chubb go-ahead touchdown within the final minute there in that first matchup. Couldn't do it again in the second one. As I told you motherfuckers before, it's hard to beat a fucking division team twice in the same year. It's just the way it goes. But Steelers beat Cleveland 27-14. Russell Wilson, even without George Pickens, you managed to throw 2 touchdowns here. Steelers cruise past Cleveland. Pittsburgh, let's ride. Fucking Russell Wilson. Jesus Christ. The Raiders on the road at Tampa. Well, and it's the Bay Show. You know I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. That's one of my favorite quarterbacks next to Lamar Jackson. Baker Mayfield, you throw for 3 touchdowns in this one. Bucs sail past the Raiders 28-13. Brock and Roll Bowers set the record for most catches in NFL history by a rookie tight end. Raider Nation, let's start a campaign for Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward next year in a black and silver jersey. Mike Evans, on the other hand, you know, you got 590 receiving yards on the season. Buccaneers and Baker, he needs 410 for 1,000 yards. And you know why. As he'll become the first player in NFL history surpassing Jerry Rice's record for the most receiving yards consecutively in a season with 11. Seattle at Arizona, NFC West showdown. Fucking Geno and the Hawks. You know, they get the better of the Cardinals in this one in their first matchup. Safe to say they spun the block and they do it again in their second. Fucking Geno. 230 yards. You had a touchdown in the air. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know you guys get a kick every time I say that shit. Listen, this guy, he must get a kick out of scoring touchdowns because he's doing this shit every week. Solidifying himself as one of the best slot receivers in the game. Simple as that. It was all about Zach Charbonnet in this one, though. 134 yards there on the ground, 2 touchdowns. He just proved, just give me the ball and get the fuck out of my way. Bills at Rams in an absolute shootout, okay? You know, they say there's a first for everything. Ain't that right, Josh Allen? How does it feel to be the first player ever to pass for 3 touchdowns and rush for 3 touchdowns in the same game? Just last week, the week before that, you posted a trifecta as you had a touchdown passing, receiving, and rushing. You were the 14th player in history to do this feat. You were the first quarterback in history to complete this feat. You know, you still managed to take a loss here in this one. Stafford in his game managed to rack up points, and they did it in bunches. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, each had a touchdown. Kyron Williams, 2 TDs on the ground. Rams go head up with Buffalo, 44-42. Bears at Frisco. Thomas Brown, you know, your major coaching debut. Only for Frisco to spoil that plan, PU. George Kittle, the Red Skittle. You got the party started early there. You had 150 yards, and honestly, I think you did this shit all before the first half. Jawan Jennings, you're the unsung hero there for Frisco. You had 2 touchdowns. Isaac Eddie Guerrero. Listen, please don't get mad at me if I botch your name. I'm just playing. But no, in all seriousness, Isaac Guernardo, you had 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. Fuck, I think you're the Frisco's 4th running back on their team. The rest of them guys are all beat up on a stretcher. Only highlight for Chicago here, Rome Odunze. You post your first 2 touchdown game. I told you motherfuckers Rome wasn't built in one day. But it took 4 quarters for Frisco to build a win. 38-13 victory. Chargers at the Chiefs. AFC West division matchup. And honestly, I'm sick of these bastards in KC pocketing their fucking hush money every week. You're not as good as you think. All right, I'm just going to say that. And I'm going to tell you this. You might not make the Super Bowl either. I think there's a few teams in the AFC that got something to say about that. It's like you put some fucking voodoo on your opponents before the game. You guys hit a field goal there as it fucking goes wide left, dings off the fucking goalpost and still finds its way in the uprights. Chargers, you guys fought hard all night. Expect nothing less from Harbaugh and his crew. Chargers are a hard-fought, hard-nosed team, man. Harbaugh's got a bunch of dogs there in LA. Chiefs, you win your 9th straight AFC West title as you guys take down LA 19-17. Bengals at the Cowboys. Joe Burrow. Here on Up Smoke, we smoking on that Joe Burrow pack. You had 370 at that. 3 touchdowns. Jamar, pay that man Chase. Absolutely went berserk. In Jerry's world. Nonetheless, you had 14 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Zach Taylor, you're a bonehead. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you just like this, G. You're going to need 2 Brinks trucks when it comes to paying Chase, man. Otherwise, he'll just walk and you'll look stupid like you've been looking all season. But it ain't Joe Burrow's fault. Rico Dowdle, you had 131 yards on the ground. You know, this is your 2nd week in a row if you posted over 100 yards for Dallas. CeeDee Lamb, 90 yards and a touchdown. So, Darian, are we going to start finding your way out of Dallas here? Or what are we doing? Even after all that block punt bullshit, Dallas, you still find a way to take an L here. And honestly, I love it. Bengals beat the Cowboys 27-20. Hey, Jerry. Pussy. Let's get into these Up and Smoke players of the week, man. I'm going to keep this real short and sweet, real simple. I got 2 of them. This week, I got to give it to Sam Darnold. You know, you posted a career high day in Atlanta. 347 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. You know, at this point, you're just playing for a contract. Adding to them stats and that resume. Vikings, I think you better think twice before letting this guy walk. And I'm going to tell you a destination where I think Sam Darnold, if he walks, where he might end up. Back where it all started. New York Jets. The fucking debacle with A-Rod. You're going to be out of there. Fuck, you already are. You're in outer space. Motherfuckers. My other Up and Smoke player of the week, Zach Charbonnet. Former Michigan Wolverine. UCLA Bruin. You know, you do a lot there, a lot of the dirty work for Seattle. And you had a day, 134 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, followed by 7 catches, 60 yards. Swiss Army knife. Before we get into this Week 15 slate of games, I just want to add that my guest today, just like me, and we've been that way since we were young adolescents, talk sports, be on the same fucking wave frequency. And I always had a vision, okay? I told this motherfucker, I think we were still fucking, I think it was either middle school or beginning of high school. Listen, Gary, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this one day. And I'm going to come back for you. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a man of my word. And I pull up and I never swerve on a curb. Show the same hospitality and the same shit you show me as you show my guests here. This is the first guest on Up and Smoke. Pussy. Let's bring Gary to the show. Gary, what up, G?
What up, though?
You all right, baby?
I'm good, you?
Appreciate you, baby. So I got Gary on the show. Gary, Up and Smoke. Up and Smoke, Gary.
Nice to meet y'all.
And basically, like I brought him on the show. We always eat, sleep, shit, and talk sports. And this ain't no different here. I know he's a good guy. He knows his shit. And we're just going to simply break down the Week 15 slate of things. Starting off with Thursday, we got the Rams at the 49ers. And if you know, like I know, this is an NFC showdown. 49ers, you guys are all beat up. Brock Purdy, you're showing that, you know what? You're not just a field general. All right, you're slinging the pill all over the place, okay? And a game manager, you're more than that. All right, Gary, maybe you could tell them what the Rams are capable of.
So the Rams, when healthy, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody offensively. But usually, you know, they have a tendency to struggle with the 49ers, the Sean McVay and the Kyle Shanahan battle. But this is not the same San Francisco team that you've seen in the past years. A lot of injuries. And it's just the NFL. You're not gonna keep getting to the top every year. It's gonna be some years off, or it's gonna be a time when just your reign is over. And I believe the 49ers' reign is over as far as dominating the NFC. So I'm gonna go with the Rams on a short week.
Plus, 49ers, how the fuck are you gonna stop that receiving duo with Kupp and Nakua? So Gary, I agree with that. We got the Chiefs at the Browns. Browns, you already know what the fuck it is with you guys. Jameis Winston, you're going to throw a bunch, but you're also going to give away a bunch too with the turnovers. But Jerry Jeudy, you're emerging as a number 1 receiver, and I like that for you. What do you think, Gary?
The Chiefs don't blow nobody out, so just know it's going to be a close game. But as he said, that close game is probably going to be ended by a Jameis Winston turnover, which wouldn't surprise me at all. The way the Chiefs season been going. They're going to find some way, somehow to get lucky. I don't know if it's Taylor Swift or what the fuck going on, but they got some magic over there.
Tired of seeing that whitehead in the skybox all the fucking time. I agree. Chiefs are going to put some voodoo on Cleveland and they'll fucking win miraculously. I'm going to take the Chiefs on the road too. We got Cincinnati Bengals on the road against Tennessee. Bengals, you're coming off that win at Jerry's World. Jamar Chase, who went crazy in that game. You've been going crazy all season. Gary, what do you think?
If Will Levis plays, I'm not trusting nobody who put mayonnaise in their coffee. I made the mistake of trusting this motherfucker last week. He fucked my fantasy team over. Y'all don't care, but it meant a lot to me because now I'm out the playoffs. But Bengals by 1 million. Trust me on that.
Oh, I agree. Listen, We got the Ravens at the Giants. Two-time MVP Lamar Jackson going up against, I think, Danny DeVito or fucking Tommy Cut, whoever the fuck it is, Drew Lock. It don't matter, okay? I'm taking the Ravens because they're climbing up the ladder. You know, Derrick Henry, you cut the fucking dreads. I hope you ain't lose your powers. Still going to take the Ravens on the road. Gary, what do you think?
The Ravens about to put their foot all the way up the Giants' ass. Ravens by 10 million.
Agree. You know, Jerry, you're on the road. Can you even travel anymore? Nonetheless, you're going on the road to Carolina, playing the Panthers. Panthers, you guys have been balling these last couple weeks. Yeah, you guys have been losing, but in some bullshit fashion, let's face it. Bryce Young, you know, ever since you've been benched and came back, he did a complete 540. You get that? I don't know, Gary. Maybe I'll piggyback off your pick. What do you think?
I like what I see from the Panthers. You know, Bryce Young got benched. He probably needed that. You can tell he actually can play. I ain't saying he's the greatest, about to be the next elite quarterback, but he can at least play in the NFL. And the way the Cowboys going after that emotional loss off of a way that's only happened twice in the last 10, 15 years, I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won this game because the Cowboys, they pretty much done gave up at this point now.
I agree. I think I'm going to take Carolina at home, just the way that they've been playing strong, hard-nosed, damn near all the way to the end, really. I'm going to take Carolina at home. We got the Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen, Jets, you burnt me how many times this year? But you know what? I still keep coming back. All right? A-Rod, if you can't beat fucking Mac Jones, Gary.
As he said, if A-Rod doesn't get off versus the Jaguars, then that's how you know it's time to retire. Because everybody get off versus the Jaguars this year for the most part. And they playing with the backup in. The Jets have fucked over a lot of people this year. I don't see how they lose this game, though. I don't see how they lose this game.
And I agree with that. Are you gambling junkies? You might want to add Devontae Adams' touchdown to your parlay, as Jacksonville's secondary is one of the worst in the league. Dolphins at the Texans. Okay, now this is an AFC battle. Two underachieving teams this year. We got Dolphins Tua Fish, Texans CJ Stroud. Say it loud. Gary, tell it for the motherfuckers in the back.
You know, a lot of people have been getting on CJ Stroud, and I understand. You know, you playing good, you get the praise. You playing bad, you're going to get the criticism. But he's obviously in a type of sophomore slump. But the Texans kind of getting right. Nico Collins getting his foot back under him. I think Willie Anderson coming back this week. I believe. Okay, so that's another boost. I think the Texans going to get it right there at home. Miami, they're not going anywhere cold this week, lucky for them. But I got the Texans winning this.
You know what? I'll take the Dolphins and whatever that spread is. Mm-hmm. I just think Tua, he'll end up keeping it close some way because he does have weapons. And, you know, while, like Gary, it reiterated, Texans defense, they're getting Willie Anderson back this week. So that's big for them. They got Derek Stingley over there, Jalen Petrie. That secondary is pretty strong. Mm-hmm. I still think I'll take the Dolphins in that spread, but I wouldn't be opposed to the Texans at home either. You know, we got an interesting one, and one that I'm actually going to pay attention to. I hope you guys do too. We got the Colts at the Broncos. This is two young quarterbacks, AR5, Anthony Richardson, Broncos, Bo Nix. You know, I'm a Bo Nix cat. I like Bo Nix. He's got good progression over there. Two young guys duking it out. Gary, what do you think about this one?
I don't like this matchup for Anthony Richardson because he's still somebody, he shows flashes here and there, but his issue is he makes the splash plays like something crazy, throw it off my back foot 60 yards, but the simple plays, he has a lot of trouble making. The Denver Broncos have a great defense. Bo Nix is somebody who surprised the hell out of me.
Top five, really, Broncos defense.
Yeah, and Bo Nix surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think he would be anything in the NFL, but sometimes you're wrong, and it looks like I was wrong about Bo Nix so far.
Well, you know what? Could also be the coach and the type of system that he's in. Some, you know, players just thrive like that. I'm going to take the Broncos there at home. We got 425 slated things now. We got the Bills at Lions. Excuse me one moment, Gary. Now it's official. Ref blow the whistle. Listen, Bills, you're coming into town, taking on Detroit. You just took that loss last week. Josh Allen looks like you're Mr. MVP. Well, guess what? We got Mr. Show-Off, Jared Goff, accompanied by his game. Listen, I'm just going to tell you this. There's a lot of bullshit going on in the league, and I smell bull jive. These last couple weeks, Lions have been keeping it close, scaring me. Makes me want to say same old you know what. But, on the other hand, you got Buffalo Bills coming in. They took that loss. You think they ain't pissed? Josh Allen, MVP it looks like this year. What do you think, Gary?
This game, it really could go either way. As he was saying, Josh Allen is on the MVP campaign. Some people might make a case for Jared Goff. This game will have some MVP implications, good or bad, for the winner, depending on how they perform. Honestly, the Lions are due for a loss, and I know people don't want to hear that because the Lions are pretty good, and homers hate when people say your team is not that good, or if you're not praising the team to a homer, they don't want to hear the shit. But I'm just being honest, you're not going to win every game, which they have lost one, but I think the Lions due for another loss. I'm going to take the Bills.
You think Dan Campbell, all his goddamn gambles ain't going to bite us in the ass? Basically what he's saying, don't be surprised if some bull jive happens here, Detroit. You know we're due for it. And might I add, we don't do good against mobile quarterbacks anyway. Quan Alexander, newly acquired Lion. I'm looking for you to really get in that mud. Fly around sideline to sideline. Jamal Adams, where you at? We got you for a reason. I'm still going to take Detroit at home. But I understand what Gary's saying too. Listen, Gary, we got Steelers on the road at the Philadelphia Eagles. Russell Wilson, let's ride. Pittsburgh going up against Philly. Philly, all that goddamn drama going on. You know, it's a lot of bull jive over there, but they still been winning. Saquon, he could be a case for MVP. Gary, what do you think in this one?
So originally, when I thought about this game, I had the Steelers, but knowing that Pickens might not play this week, I thought he was close to playing last week, but they're saying he's doubtful as of right now. I'm starting to lean towards Philadelphia now because I feel like you have to be 100% healthy on offense to beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree.
But Russell Wilson is balling. I owe him an apology. I talk a lot of shit about Russell Wilson.
Oh, he ain't the only one.
He's still a corny motherfucker, but he's not washed as people try to make him seem. And she shut my damn mouth because I ain't said a word bad about Russ in about 8 weeks now. So, hey, I'm taking Philly though.
You're going to take Philly there at home?
I am.
Gary, you said George Pickens is out. You know, might that be true? I also think that's a smokescreen because it's still too early to tell. Regardless, you know what, Philly, your secondary's been playing great this year. Phenomenal, really. And you got them two rookies out there. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, and they've been playing stellar. Gary, I'm going to ride with you on that one. I'm going to take Philadelphia there at home. We got the Patriots at the Cardinals. Okay, Arizona, you just lost last week to fucking Geno and the Hawks. Are we going to bounce back here against the Pats? I think you do. Bettors, put a Maserati Marvin Harrison Jr. touchdown to your parlay because I think he gets in the end zone. Gary, what do you think?
Patriots don't have enough. I mean, they'll compete, but after the Cardinals just got whooped the way they did last week, they're coming back for blood this week. I don't expect them to falter like they did last week. Last week, I expected a close game with Seattle, and they just didn't show up. And I thought under a new coach that they kind of changed their ways, but it might still be the same Cardinals because the Tiger doesn't change stripes. They always start to fall off on the back half of the season. Like they did that a lot with the last coach, and I thought it was a coaching thing, but it's starting to look like they're doing the same thing again. So we'll see.
We'll pay attention to that pattern. So you say Cardinals at home?
They should win.
I agree. I'll take the Cardinals at home. I wouldn't be opposed to taking Patriots in that spread, though, either. Pay attention to that number. This should be a good one, okay, and a very underrated game, as we got Baker Mayfield and the Bucs on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. Everybody knows Harbaugh's crews are always fucking hard-nosed, fought teams. Here's no different. Gary, how's it looking?
So I'm going with the Chargers personally in this game. Herbert if it's not a big game, you can bet on Herbert. But if it's a big game, primetime game, whoever they playing, you take the opposite team. But this is a Buccaneers team. I mean, it's a meaningful game, but it's not like a big game. Like, this Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, or playoff implications on the line.
Yeah.
Which this game will impact playoff chances for both teams. But I'm going with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They should win this game.
You know, they're giving Tampa Bay +3 here, over and under 46.5. You like Chargers money line there, huh?
I do.
You know what? I like Tampa Bay to cover that spread, that +3.
I'm not mad at it.
That number will probably change. Reason why I say that, Baker Mayfield, he's always a guy that he's not going down without a fight. You're going to throw a jab, you better follow with another punch because he's going to throw a counter. He's that type of cat. Always resilient. Fights to the end of the game. That clock hits 0-0. No different here. I like a dog fight, but I'll take Tampa Bay to cover that spread. We got Packers at Seattle. Packers being on the road. Geno Smith, you're on your high horse. Fucking Geno. Jordan Love, whole lot of love there in Green Bay. You got your new weapon, Josh Jacobs. He just posted a hat trick last week. I think he got jealous of Joe Mixon doing that shit a couple weeks previous. Gary, what do you think about this one?
I think this should be a really good game. I'm glad this is the Sunday Night Football game, right?
It is. It's the 8:20 game.
Yeah, so they picked a really good matchup. But I am going with the Packers in this game. I think the Packers just a better team, top to bottom. Now, don't get me wrong, Seattle does have great offensive weapons, but no matter how good your weapons are on offense, if your offensive line cannot protect you, cannot protect the quarterback, you're going to have a hard time. So I'm going with the Packers in this.
You know what? I think I agree. I think Green Bay, they just got a lot of weapons. Seattle, they do too. I'm paying close attention to Smith and Jigba and Jaden Reed. That's 2 slot receivers. They're going to get a fair share of the workload there in this game. I think I am going to take Green Bay there on the road as well. Now listen, Gary, you know we got Monday coming. And Monday we got a doubleheader.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 8 o'clock game. We got Chicago Bears on the road at Minnesota. NFC North Division matchup. Gary, what do you think about this?
Minnesota. You never know what you're going to get with the Bears. It is a divisional game, so I expect it to be close. But it just seems like with the Bears, every week is some new bullshit. One week, Caleb Williams out there looking like he got picked number 1 for a reason. And then the following week, you looking like, shit, this motherfucker have been a number 1 pick.
Right.
I can think of a few reasons why he shouldn't based off what I just saw.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Basically, he's saying, Caleb Williams, you have one good game, the next game you fall off. While there's other quarterbacks, rookies this year in your same draft class that showed chains of consistency. Where the fuck are you? Gary, might I add, you know, these 2 quarterbacks, they went to USC. Sam Darnold went to USC. Obviously, he was before Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams going there after and winning the Heisman there with Lincoln Riley. I think I'm going to take Minnesota there. Sam Darnold, you got what's going on right now. Like I said, they'd be a fool not to pay you, honestly. Even though I think you might crack like an egg when you play us. But I'll take you here at home. Chicago, I want to see you stop that receiving duo. 8:30, you got Atlanta Falcons at the Raiders. My Raiders. Listen, take it over, Gary. Jesus Christ.
So we got this motherfucker Kirk Cousins, who, if you know me, I've told y'all about the MO of Kirk Cousins, but I'm going to say this. As terrible as he's been, if Kirk Cousins can't get off against the Raiders, It's time to bench this nigga and put in Michael Penix, who I was praising a lot coming into this draft. And people was like, oh, they're gonna be sitting on the bench for 3 years. Well, clearly it ain't gonna be no 3 years. Michael Penix might be starting before the end of this season, but definitely next year, Kirk gone, because this has been awful. It has been absolutely terrible.
Yeah, Gary, you know what, Kirko Chains? Take all that fucking jewelry to the pawn shop. All right, your time is done. As I look at my watch, I see Michael Penix.
Your neck turning green, nigga. Take that shit off.
And that's what it boils down to. Listen, I got to love-hate with this one because I felt Penix was supposed to be a Raider, but Atlanta drafted him before us, which now I'm not mad at because we got Brock Bowers. Only we're in the same fucking position as before. No quarterback. Might I add, Desmond Ridder, you're our starter now for Oakland. Yeah, I still call him Oakland, even though they're in Vegas. That just goes to show you I'm a real fan. Listen, Desmond Ridder's our quarterback. Once played for Atlanta.
Revenge game.
This is a revenge game. I like the Raiders to cover the spread here. Gary, what do you say?
What's the spread on this game?
-4.5 Atlanta. So I'll take the Raiders +4.5. Max Crosby's going to get after that motherfucker, whoever it is for Atlanta. And that just is what it is, Gary.
You know what? As bad as the Falcons have looked, I wouldn't be mad at taking that 4.5 for the Raiders, because the Falcons, I don't know what the hell's going on. Even though the Raiders aren't the best, they do play hard. You know, Pierce might not get a fair shake with this job because he might be out of there after this year, but they play hard for him, so I'll give them credit for that. They play hard.
You know, I agree. Bettors, might as well put a Drake London anytime touchdown. I think Jack Jones is banged and beat up for the Raiders there. So I like him to find pay dirt this week. I'm going to take my Raiders +4.5. That was it for the Week 15 slate of things. Gary, once again, brother, I appreciate you. Like I said, this was long overdue. And you know your shit, brother. You know what I'm saying? And on this platform, you come out here and you talk your shit. That's the beauty of this. These other motherfuckers can't. You know what I'm saying? So, once again with me, every week it's brick by brick here on Up and Smoke. This week ain't no different. Like I reiterated, last week, we treated that as a bye week. Let's work out some kinks, come back strong. That's the way we do things here. Chain of consistency. Something that Caleb Williams doesn't have right now. Once again, I thank you all for the love and support, tuning in with me. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, Up and Smoke. Thank you all for tuning in. You know what that is. You know what this is. Up in Smoke. Pussy. Lions, it's a defender den this week. Bite some kneecaps. Gary, appreciate you, homeboy.
For sure.
Have peace.